Well, well, well. Who would have thought that Tanir might have far more T-side impact, be more interesting, more aggressive, more thrilling to watch than Zontix? Yeah, me, obviously. Me, I've been spouting this sort of pro-Tanir propaganda for a couple months now. It feels like it's been a while since the move was announced. We never got to see it. Finally, it's arrived, and it's looking fantastic. We do have some concerns over these three BO3s played about potentially the CT roles and the way CT sides have been looking, but I think it's a few fluke rounds contributing heavily to that rather than just the expectation. Because when you filter full buy v full buys, Tanir smashing it, Donk smashing it, it's just these weird full buy v half buy problems they're having. We're not going to be focusing in on that too much today, a little bit, but primarily we're going to be looking at Mirage, how Tanir is playing versus G2 in this example, but just with this new side, with his new responsibilities, and doing a little bit of a comparison. I have watched a fair bit of Zontix, just historically. We're going to be comparing how Tanir's looking, the plays he's making, and exactly how he's approaching these roles on this T side and also CT side. There are some differences on both. So yeah, let's get straight into it. We've got our demo loaded up. Tanir on the T side pistol with that Glock. Let's get rolling. We will be skipping a few rounds here and there because he is a lurker in some rounds, a pretty hard lurker, and there are rounds where he simply does not do anything. But yeah, we'll get into that eventually. Here, throwing util for the X-Ray, double flash assists on Zway's kills. We do love to see it. We're going to have X-Ray on for this one. I know we usually don't, but I'm just messing around with a new visual style. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Let me know in those comments. So yeah, lovely shot to open things up. The first time we see him shoot a gun, it's a nice and easy headshot. Headshots are going to be a theme today. As any of you know, I'm assuming all of you well know, Zontix is not famed for his headshot percentage. His inability to aim up has been a frustration. Anyone who's watched a Zontix POV demo in the past will probably have spotted, especially if it's a demo where he gets more than like 6 deaths. You know, a demo where he's actually active and involved, which is a fairly rare occurrence. You will have noticed that he will lose fights just due to his crosshair placement. He will be aiming too low, he will be trying to convert on body sprays rather than landing headshots, and that's a frustration. But of course, aim is one thing. The other side of things that was appealing about Tanir joining this roster in the place of Zontix is more aggressive playmaking. Believing in his aim, going for little plays. Zontix was very calm, very collected, very passive on the T side, very rarely tried anything. And there are some rounds where Tanir will look a bit more like that on this side. He's not going to be always as involved as he would have been in Heroic on the T side, just to make that comparison. But he will generally be going for more things. He'll be calling his own number a little more often. He'll be trying to make little incisions in plays, and also he will be acting as a trader in a few rounds, just directly coming out behind Zway, which is actually a pretty cool thing to watch. This round starts dreadfully. Tanir getting the first clawback kill there as they go down into a 5v3 temporarily. It's going to be a 4v2, I think, at some point before things finally correct themselves. No, Donk does... Okay, get it. Into even numbers a little quicker. But yeah, 2-on-2. Donk and Tanir, the new duo, the Titanic duo. Just so difficult to overcome. Covering the plant, lovely shot to the head. Mattis 1v2. Does actually take out Donk and Tanir. This is very forward, very aggressive. Not the way you'd expect most players to play that. But he does get it done. But yeah, for context, some of the stats I've been looking at that interest me between Tanir and Zontix. Pistol for pistol, huge upgrade. Now, pistol rounds are massively important, and we're talking about a very large difference in performance in pistol rounds between these two players. For the last 3 months, how many rounds is this covering? Wow, quite a few. Probably about 40, 45 rounds worth of data I've pulled up for myself. Zontix has a KPR of 0.49 in these pistols, and he's only got a cast of 60%. So it's not like he's being traded particularly often, surviving that often, getting a lot of assists. He's got a subpar cast and a dreadful KPR. He's just a net negative, really, on pistol rounds over the last 3 months. Tanir, on the other hand, is quite a monster. He is a 0.86 KPR. His kills do come in bursts, but that is related to his aggression. He's taking more opening fights, he's taking more risks on his pistols, and you'll see a bit of that. Not in the first half pistol, obviously we saw that he didn't really do a whole lot. Just that util and then a closing kill, but on the CT pistol he will be a little more aggressive. And that's a general theme across all of Tanir's play that you should just expect to see. He's going to be a more aggressive kind of player than Zontix ever was. He's going to be going for playmaking. He's going to be trying things that Zontix simply would never try. So yeah, a massive difference in KPR. Also, ADR, 59 to 89, basically 90 for Tanir. Really, really high. So yeah, this is one of the key T-side things that have started happening a lot. Straight away notice this. Zwei entering for Tanir. Like, he's going hard as a supportive entry, taking that path, and Tanir's just trading off the back of it. Does it quite effectively in a few rounds in this half that we'll get into. This one, you know, just taking contact, taking a peek, not quite landing anything. But yeah, that's one of the big ones. Across all maps, the pistol rounds are significantly different. I've seen some people claim they want Zontix to have stayed on the roster for Zwei in a way we'd be using, you know, Zontix's anchoring abilities. And that's all well and good, but in terms of what's actually being compared here, Tanir coming in for Zontix. Zontix was playing pretty active CT roles in a lot of different places, a lot of different ways. He plays short on this map, and we'll get into exactly how he played it when we get to those rounds. He just wasn't a particularly elite active rifler when it came to the CT side. I will concede, of course, that I think in anchoring positions he did very well. His understanding of timing, positioning, his patience were all top-notch. So in that sense, I can give a lot of credit over to Zontix, and that's why I've said, and I'll say it again, he will find a place on a team somewhere in the scene. He's allegedly on break right now, recovering mentally or refreshing himself, whatever it actually is. I don't know the ins and outs, but what matters is when he comes back, he will have opportunities open to him. There will be teams that are going to want to play with him. He's going to find somewhere to land should Spirit let him go. He could play internationally. I mean, look, it's not a ridiculous idea to plonk him into a team like Falcons in terms of getting a natural-born anchor in the place of Tesses. Doesn't seem that necessary right now, but we'll see how things go later in tournaments. They've been having struggles deeper in events than just the group stages. But I do think there are a number of Russian-speaking sides who would do well having Zontix come in. You know, a team like... Don't take this the wrong way, Zontix, but a team like an Amcal could do with a really solid Tier 1 caliber anchor. A guy who can legit hold down bomb sites against really good sides. He could go play for that sort of team without a hesitation. Like, I don't think that's a ridiculous ask. Yep, that lurk doesn't work. Very late lurk. Round basically dead. Just going to skip through it a bit. There's one thing I do wish we'd seen more of. We see a lot of this sort of trading Tanir. We got that one round earlier on. Round 2 where he does close out in conjunction with Donk. But we didn't see too many of those aggressive lurks. We saw a late round lurk there where he just walked out the ramp, tried to find a frag. Once the round was pretty dead. We've not seen too much aggressive lurking. But we have seen him adding this second aspect, this other side to the game where it's not just to pause for a sec, it's not just whatever's Donk's doing. Donk takes this control, tries to entry out here. He's going to be hyper effective, but you can kind of lock in on this sort of region. You know, you've got players who can play off here, 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 even here, hell, even up here, and pay attention to the sort of angles you can take. If you've got a Tanir coming out of the apps, even if it is with Zwei, or if you've got a Tanir just looking for this lurk, looking for this kind of fight, all of a sudden you can't hone in all these players on this one position. There's a second prong, as we're going to call it, coming in. This is a great round for this off-the-shoulder, second man in, using Zway's entry perfectly. This sort of thing I've been hyping up a little bit. Look at this. Aware of the angle he needs to be holding as the entry route is being run. Gets the perfect trade kill onto Heavy God. Round done. I mean, a good nade to follow up onto Malbs, dealing 50 damage. And that's the round over. CT side saving. Fantastic little play. The awareness, sort of the understanding of how the round should be run, that as Zway does this, the thing you need to be aware of is this area. That's where your crosshair should be. That's the sort of fight you should be trying to take. That's the angle you're supposed to be covering. Tanir does it fantastically. Doubles up as well. Just solid fragging. What's funny is when you look at the numbers between Tanir and Zontix in terms of full by v full by rounds, over the sort of last 3 months, the same period where we talked about those pistol rounds, you see a big difference in the way they get to their ratings. They both have a similar rating, 2.0 at least, at about a 111, 112 for Tanir. If you're wondering where I'm getting these numbers, by the way, Skybox Edge is my go-to tool. They're not sponsors or anything like that, but I use Skybox Edge for a lot of these sorts of stats. They give useful insights into what exactly a player is doing, like which moments he's most effective in. But whilst they end up with a similar rating, not even too disparate in terms of their ADR, 79 versus 82, the KPR's the big difference. Zontix down at 0.65, Tanir 0.74. Zontix may have the higher cast. He is the smarter, safer player. In that sense, if you extend smartness to just being alive, yes, Zontix more intelligent. If you want like high IQ playmaking, risk management, you know, understanding what he can and can't go for, like what limits he can push, how much he can try, Tanir is the more intelligent player in that sense. Like figuring out where the limit is, where you can go make a play, where you can't. Sure, Tanir does ride the line a little more aggressively, he does die more often for nothing, but he also finds far more frags and far more impact on the aggregate that lead to an equal overall rating, slightly higher rating. It is in 2.0, but in 3.0, if you look over the same period, a far higher rating overall, just because of how much impact he has when he makes those plays. Yeah, the one limitation is that Skybox Edge is a 2.1 estimation when we talk rating, but you can just break it down, just look through the stats in terms of ADR, KPR, and understand how it is a player's playing, what is it he brings to the table. A 3v3 here, with Donk lurking out mid. Shiro and Tanir, the three big dogs of this team, trying to make a play happen. Tanir rotating quite loudly down. This is a classic fake attempt. Just makes an absolute racket coming down the stairs. Expects to be heard by someone around here. That's the reaction Donk's waiting for. It's all very intentional. Now Donk having found that kill, you go into the site, put down some util, and play a 3-on-2 post-plant that should be nigh on unlosable. Let's see if they manage to lose it. Yeah, some Pyre's just holding an angle from short. Not spotting anyone yet. Donk's managed to make his way into the apps as well, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. Shiro gets the kill onto Heavy God anyway. Some Pyre's going to save. We can get ourselves out of here. Oh, hello. Is that a final kill right there? No. No, not quite. So yeah, Tanir, so far, looking like exactly what I sold him as when it came to his addition to Spirit. Oh, what a kill by Zway. Matisse wrecked. Donk also up short so quickly. This is a round we can actually pause, go back to the start of. I mean, Tanir does do some fragging later on, but look at the pace Chopper has called this with. Just watch the clock. Great util just gets out in space. Hard clearing, seeing nothing. Hearing that piece of util, and yeah, we go. Love this. Love the timing of all this. Donk's gone super quick, gets himself up, and cuts noise. Thanks to the steps. Then the kill, but the steps initially, just that pounding of steps and util towards B. Hunt has to turn back. Donk gets a freebie. It's a wonderful set-piece round, just straight out of spawn. Very fast, very aggressive contact. Of course, you take what the defense gives you, to a certain extent. But magnificent. Magnificent shooting out his way. Great pace for Donk. And already, the CT side saving. The round lasted maybe 15 seconds, in terms of pre-bomb plant. Great shooting. Also converts the spray onto Mabs MD. The lobotomist goes down. Sometimes Chopper gets lit up, let's put it that way. A lot of people's assessment, judgment of him is he just tells his players to go kill them. You know, he's got Donk, he's got Shiro. Donk go kill is just an OP strat. If he only half finished the job, just get Shiro to do it. This is an incredibly simplistic and, I think, reductive analysis of Spirit's gameplay, obviously. Donk's managed to get 2 kills in towards mid, but yeah, they sort of called the same round back-to-back in terms of the overall idea. You take mid control, you try the mid B crunch very quickly. And this time he gets absolutely wrecked. It's going to fall apart because Donk's going to get caught by that market player. And no one's going to over-aggress into Tanir, give him away, and give him the free kill, basically. He goes down for nothing. That's that. So yeah, we're obviously seeing a different style of play out of the team, and a part of that does feel like it is Tanir influenced. With Zontix, you don't really want to be going for that kind of pop, that kind of inner circle-less pop, where you're just running players quickly out of B, through smokes, just forcing the issue. Inner Circle are huge fans of it, because they have an entry duo in Ken and Davu, that just fucks, really, just hits shots. Just hits so hard that you kind of love it, you kind of want to go for it. But when you have a player like Tanir, who's happy being a part of the pack, happy going for that up-tempo game style, even if he himself is a bit more of a lurker, typically, he's happy to play it because he's able to. He's got that aim required to hit snappy headshots off the back of an entry player's space taken. We've seen that a couple times in this demo that he's playing off the shoulder as well. When you have that kind of player available, yeah, you do play with a bit more tempo. You do play a little more up pace. Look at the mid-A split this time. Tanir more or less just showing a bit of presence. Then he's going to go looking for the kills. Incredible how he converts that one onto Malbs. Like, just holding the spray a bit longer. Wins the 1v1 with Heavy God, which he does a couple of times in this half. Good control on the spray to take down some Pius. And this is where the round gets tough. Yeah. Matties catches the timing because the bomb gets dropped. A little mistake there from Shiro. Dying to that Molotov. Drops the bomb. It's awkward. Does lead to their 3rd round loss as Matties wins it out. But Tanir, great play again. Just out of the palace. Trading. Using Zway's attention that he's drawn. This time through ramp. This time the primary sort of entry pack was here. There was a man up hit. He was like sort of just the herd, part of a trident of attack. Just looking to peel a few players off from an extremity. That was a decent job of it, but in the end, not quite enough. G2 have monsters of their own, as we'll see a bit later on in this one. What I do find fascinating is that this year, the removal of Anubis has hit teams in very strange and different ways. And one team that I thought kind of lost one of their better T-sides in terms of how well it was suited to them is actually Spirit. I really thought that Zontix had a strong approach to that T side. It just suited him to be more, yeah, passively inclined. Here's another heads up, by the way, with Heavy God. Just two players who know they can't sit too long. They have to jiggle, otherwise the other one's going to hit the headshot. Tanir does eventually land it. But yeah, the lurk that he used to play could be more passive. Like, it made sense to be more passive. You needed that sort of classic space holder, whilst you really brute forced mid or canals with the rest of the pack. And so I thought they fit nicely together on that team and on that map, but the removal means, yeah, one of the more productive maps for Zontix is gone, so all the more reason to move on. Right, now we have to skip this long halftime. We want to just do a bit of an EPL simulation, like of what all the casting's going to be like in this time. Good to fill the dead airs. Talk about what's in the mailbox, guys, and movies and shit. I don't know. Sorry, that wasn't my best impression, but yeah. It has been a very complaint-heavy EPL as far as people talking about the casting. Right, let's pause here. If you've ever watched Zontix on Mirage, you'll know he plays short. You'll know he plays a lot of his rounds statically, just lined up against this wall. You'll know he's also not one for taking risks. Tanir, first pistol on Mirage. Flashes out, stands and takes a fight open, basically on the angle. Doubles up. This is the difference. This is the kind of thing that playing the right way just can't get you, and some pious reacts perfectly puta madre, Andre. Calma with the USP, but no calm, no chill. Tanir is ready to fight, ready to bang, and he gets it done. Oh, whilst I record this, we had our first big elimination from Pro League. Goodbye, Mongols. Na'Vi 2-0. The Mongols just look terrible in this event, to be honest. Not something we're used to seeing. And yeah, down they go. Just a bad series all round from everyone. Okay. Yeah, expect to see more of that in the gun rounds as well. Tanir is going to be more aggressive. Like, he's not going to be limiting himself to just sitting here and waiting for a player to jump on the bench. He's going to take the fight to the other side a lot. I've never seen Spirit challenge mid so aggressively, time and time again. Like, sure, you'll have seen Spirit try, like, a chopper's way donk aggro before. Hell, we'll actually see an interesting change-up that I'd never seen before. And Tanir, the typical short player, actually coming over and anchoring A whilst they go for something rather more elaborate with three riflers mid and Shiro just covering the apps off. All very interesting approaches, more dynamic, I guess, like rather than just statically sitting in the positions they like to sit in. And especially when it comes to Zontic, yes, sitting in the position he likes to sit in is the accurate way of describing his play. Look at that, flashbang straight out, tries to preempt the timing, just goes a bit early. I think he gets it wrong, and that's fine. You can honestly say Zontix doesn't take that death necessarily. And I think for me, the timing of his push and Donk's push is just a bit off. Like, he straight throws the flash and just kind of he hesitates a bit, then goes. Donk wasn't even close, and by the time that flash happened, he's already dead. He needed to wait a little bit more. And it's not a question of hesitate in that sense, it's just more a question of getting the timing right. I'm not saying he's unsure, it's more about doing it in unison. And you see here that sort of different setup with Zwei. Oh, and Shiro was towards window. Chopper was just solo B. Just Zwei and Donk trying to be aggressive in mid. No, changing up the look. Not something I'm really used to seeing too much of. I do think in that sense they've spent a month away. And they have made slight tweaks to the way they play to factor in the fact that they have another confident star rifle. A rifler who wants to take aggro, who wants to take duels. He just wants to dictate a bit more to the other team what's going to be happening. Zontix was not that guy. Taneer was, and yeah, this round, Taneer's just on the wrong side of the map. They don't have the right read on the defensive half. They go for that 3-man save. And look, overall, look, there has been a bit of a struggle for this team on the CT side. And looking at the numbers, it does seem to be a problem with dealing with half-buys, because you see here, full-buy again, aggressive from Taneer. Who's throwing that nade? Someone in the window is throwing a nade for him. Yeah, Shiro's nading and popping open the smoke. Taneer's able to convert nice and easily onto some Pious. Maybe with that botched spray, it'd have taken him. He'd have been taken down by a rifler who was in that smoke, but he's lucky it's the AWPer. But again, far more aggressive, far more assertive. And Donk's still able to play exactly the way he wants to play. You can call that an over-aggression if you want. I think you have the liberty to try and make those kinds of plays once you get the opener, and you still have Donk alive. It's luckily not many players play with. And it's one that Zontix never really abused in the right way, I think. I think in the long run, those kinds of plays are going to work out more. And this Spirit team are going to be legitimately dangerous. I do wish they'd bring back the setting that was available in the past, where I could Alt-Tab to keep the game smooth, you know? For some reason, not a thing right now. Like, I can't find that setting again. I found it once, a couple patches ago. It seems to have disappeared, so maybe I'm blind, but hey. It's near here in the smoke. Heavy God doesn't really fully check it. And some Pious does, but too late, Heavy God. Down you go. Look at the mechanics. He's so sharp. Just... Zontix could never hit that second shot. Yeah, some big games today. Aurora FaZe in the deciding matches. G2 3max has started. It's going to be an interesting run. I mean, look, the big underdogs have all been eliminated. I think that's fair to say. We've had to say goodbye to Inner Circle, Gentlemates, Ho2, Gamer Legion. And then on top of that, Astralis. And Astralis going out in last, pretty embarrassing. We've had to say goodbye to a lot of these teams. But now it's led to the big dogs, because, yeah, this Pro League Swiss had everyone. Absolutely everyone. It's been fantastic in terms of the theory. Like, in theory, you get to see all these new great teams. And in practice, we've had a lot of slop just spewed into our ears by the casting crew. Not been great. It's an ironic clash, given the name of the event. So yeah, Spirit Falcons going both 3-0. Kind of a win for the aim cells. I include myself amongst those people. Now, Furia go through 3-1, Mouse go through 3-1, Vitality go through 3-1. The one other team that I would have expected to be through by now, really. You know, I'd have thought G2 would have gone through ahead of Furia, especially given they beat them, and they were up 2-0. They're now playing a 2-2 game, not expected at all. I would have expected G2 to figure it out faster, but it's okay. They've lost to Spirit and Vitality on their way down to the 2-2 bracket. It's not exactly something to be ashamed of, considering after the first series, ZywOo has actually woken up and is now playing like ZywOo. in the games I've seen, so maybe not the greatest indictment upon G2's level. But yeah, they make it through 3-2. That means they're probably playing one of these very top teams, like Falcons, like Spirit. That'll be a banger quarterfinal. We saw that last round again. A two-man aggression. Up short, Chopper leading, catching at timing. Goes down after 2, then Tanir swings out, also gets himself a freebie. A more aggressive CT side. Shiro and Donk playing out of connector. Try breaking that hold if you can. I think G2 actually do manage to, ironically. But yeah, so far we're seeing almost none of the Zontic staple, just holding the jump up. Sure, in this round, Shiro's holding underpass. Maybe there is a read that, as an underpass player, Matisse isn't going to be going for that jump up very often. But I do feel like it is a change of preference between the two players, how they like to approach the position. Now falling back into their setups, 5v4. Matisse does go down, so no, this is not the round where they can break through into A. Donk doubling up. Never heard that one before, have we? A double kill from Donk. Who would have thought? That's a triple as well. And a quad. Yeah, funnily enough, Donk does top the scoreboard in this one. An aggression for his way towards ramp doesn't succeed. Loses an angel to some pious. A spray battle of all things. Unexpected. And we see again, yeah, they're playing down a man on their CT side. After losing to a pistol force buy sort of round. Like a losing to the rifle of the force buy, but still. Overall, it's more of a pistol buy than a rifle buy. This is it. This is the one thing that Sontix did endlessly. Is play up close to this wall and hold for a jump up. It's the first time in a while we've seen something other than a heavy mid-stack or aggression. This isn't the old Spirit. There's more than one natural aggressive star on this core. This round's a bit awkward. Yeah, not quite able to land any of the spray that he wants to. Gets taken down by Mabs with a hero rifle. Donk with a crazy quad kill on the exiting players. I'm sure you've seen the highlight. Down to 12-9. And look, we're back to this. A slight adjustment on the flashbang, given the presence in mid. Donk goes 1-for-1. Shiro picks one up. Malb's double entry. Great shot from Tanir. That's so snappy. Immediately pops the smoke as well to keep his presence. Love to see it. Immediately cocks up the molly and repositions. A great round. Immediately looks like a complete fumble as he throws that Molotov back on himself. Now just trying to find Hunter, unsure of where he is. Got zero real info on his position. Knows he's not the bomb site. Goes down, but Chopper is going to win this round out. There we go. 13-9. A fantastic game of CS, and already we're seeing the differences between having Tanir on the side and Zontix. Tanir, in my opinion, far superior, just a better player. And I don't think this demo does anything but prove it, really. What's playing? Is that the audio from the game? I bloody hope so. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Leave me your comment. Tell me what you think about this move now that you've seen it in practice a little bit. You've seen them play 3 series with it. They 2-0, or they 2-1 in a circle, 2-0 Hotu, and then 2-0 G2. Not the most difficult of runs, but hey, they're a top seed. Coming into this, they shouldn't be playing the most difficult of runs. They should only be facing top teams in that 2-0 game, and they did, and they won it. So, Spirit deserve a lot of credit, I think, even still. Great start for them at this event. We'll see them in the... It's in the quarters, right? This is a proper playoff bracket. Yes, a proper playoff bracket. So we'll see them in the quarterfinal, probably against someone like FaZe, Aurora, maybe even Na'Vi. Who knows? but it's going to be a thrilling playoff series, playoff bracket, sorry, to follow. Many big series to be played. I'll be looking forward to breaking it all down, either on these kinds of videos or on Monday's episode of Retake the Week. We'll see you next time.